Hello again, Brian Jennings. This channel is dedicated to processing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I am a writer as well as an actor. I wrote him a series of letters about playing the lead in the movie Critic, which set into motion a sequence of events that led to him canceling the film and now led to the two of us being embroiled in what we're embroiled in, right? Which is a dangerous, evil, psychic siege. Quentin Tarantino is a powerful psychic clairvoyant who remote views people, who jumps into the mind of the actors in his films, right? And I am the most powerful clairvoyant of the millennial generation. And so, right, it's degenerated into a sick, evil condition that it behooves me to discuss in the light of day, in public. Right? I've written a novelization of my experiences. So we're reading through the novel. We're talking about the writing. We're talking about the nature of reality. We're talking about how he does what he does, how I do what I do. Right? Sorcery's done in the dark. Magic's done in the light. Right? That I betray no master. Right? I betray no order. Right? And this is about survival. It's not about bitching. Right? It's not about anything other than, right, my head staying on my shoulders. I live in perpetual fear because, right, because he is at his breaking point psychologically, just like I am, right? And if I die under mysterious circumstances, right, then I have no more problems, right? So the novel is just getting good, right? We're really getting into the heart of the matter now. And, right, we're talking about it. That's like all that's left is to talk about it, right? Right? So the only argument, right, that Quentin and William Morris Endeavor have, that all of these people have, right, is that I'm mentally ill, that everything that I'm saying is a lie, right? And so my point, right, and as a reply to that, right, is that if I am not well, right, like if everything that I'm saying is a lie, right, William Morris Endeavor, do you not support, right, mental health awareness? Quentin Tarantino, do you not support mental health awareness? Do you not want me to be well? Right? And so, right, it's time to release the conversation footage of Jackie Brown, of Quentin and Robert De Niro, right? Because whatever the truth is, right, that footage will reveal it. Right? Right? So, right? And that's easy, right? No money required, right? Not anymore. You've gone too far, But my point is that, right? Are you actually interested in saying, oh, we support mental health, right? Are you actually interested in helping me process my life, right? Or are you all just sick degenerates who are interested in evil? Right? I posit the latter, right? Because there's no other way to interpret it. And we'll get into that as much or as little as I want, as we do with all of these videos. So I'll pick up where I left off. I'm watching Clam. Clam is fish. Right? Many things have happened. Upon arrival 1 week ago, I went straight to WME and asked to see Mike Bartholomew, Aliaster's agent I have been writing to since Tribeca. They were congenial at first, but when they realized I was just an asshole with no prim and proper appointment, they became standoffish. By the end of it, they tricked me out of the building. Endless stratas of guile. Arriving beneath the open sky and above the sidewalk, I decided to make a tape, go back and deliver it, and scream at the top of my lungs. My effort was a half measure. I have to full send it. Made the tape, wherein I cursed that mystery witch, poisoned her womb by these tactics she prefers to employ. Psychic violation. I raged that he owes me the role, that it's too far. I don't know how he sees it. Watching Clam, it seemed reconciliation was possible, and so I'm striving to give him what he wants. I don't know who she is, but I have to set these boundaries firm. What she does only involves me when I am involved. I told her in the letter to pay Caesar his due and leave my thoughts to me and mine. After I delivered it, wherein I screamed, "I am the dread god Ozymandias!" and made them swear on their honor they would deliver it. They were all afraid. I was escorted out while my eye was vehemently avoided. It is a moment no one involved will ever forget. He gave his word. It was delivered. I wanted solace. I decided to eat some of the lithium I got from the hospital those months ago. My thought process being that I am mad, or no, not that, that perhaps it could keep them out. It does not work. The following day she came to me at night, attempting to seduce me, but departed in sensing my intoxication. The following day, I sensed that they are relentless, and that my last secret, my only fear, will be uncovered. Despite my trepidation, depression compelled my actions, and so I took the meds. In my hypnagogic trance, they came with a Ouija board and pilfered. HIV/AIDS. Letters to steal the fears of a writer. It is a kind of noble in its ignominy, appropriate and necessary. If it is at all, I mean. Which it isn't. I don't actually know if I have it. I have been avoiding the question with celibacy and good works. Diligence. Now I have to go to Delaware to see Clam again. Alistair, I would say, feels guilty, and is trying not to be judgmental. Those around him are colder. I have not addressed it. Clam was a lot. I did not write at all the entire weekend. It was a feast of virtuosity and experience. Having abandoned all of my possessions beyond what I needed, I got a ride from the DC airport, the 2 hours to the festival. Really nice Afghani cabbie. He was cool. Stopped to let me buy booze and cigs. I gave him some kratom. He wanted to try it. And we parted ways at will call. They directed me to an entryway maybe 1 mile from there, through a forgettable shopping center. After schlepping it the 20 minutes, I was told to follow the line of vehicles, and scored a ride immediately from a really nice guy, maybe 10 years my senior, 15 even. But in good health, nice, cool guy. I mentioned in earnest what was occurring to me, to him and his friend that he was camping with, maybe a little older than him. The first, I would say, was in a state of amazement. The second, Socratic indifference. Of course, I said nothing about the Ouija board. My tent barely came together. It is camping only in the crudest sense, a tent with no air mattress. I had to keep my Hasselblad, the only asset I still have, in that unprotected tent all weekend, though it was never accosted. My tent was bought in Venice for $40. I was ripped off. I had my guitar with me, which was nice. I do not know how much longer I will have it, but throughout the festival I was able to play and entertain everyone, which was great. They were all very encouraging. By Sunday, I could barely speak. This was the first time I was able to go see Clam 4 days and get close to the band every night. It requires a level of devotion that I, for now, have been unable to find kindred spirits for. But this time I told myself that it didn't matter what everyone else is doing. So often necessity forces a seat, to have a ticket over no ticket. So any chance to get close must be capitalized. And so I was on the gate every day as soon as they opened it, waiting the 2 hours in the sun to be close to the band. I have almost exclusively always gone to Clam alone. When I saw 13 shows in 19, the most in a single year, I was better about getting numbers. But while busking on the pier in 22, a hobo stole my phone. And so the case emerges for social media. I refuse. I met a cavalcade of wonderful characters roaming the world over. Many beautiful women, though only one possessed me, 2,000 miles away on the other coast. My life is in such shambles, I doubt I will stay in touch with any of them. Though to see any of them will be a gift yet to come. Out of our memory, the laughter inevitable by the highest banter. Upon arrival, I introduced myself to everyone around me, though not having a vehicle required a conversation with the volunteers arranging everyone. I showed them the car camping pass I had bought, sans the vehicle, and they let me set up. Most of them are dull, but the excitement was palpable. One of them, with a group, was a classic street wook. Spent a lot of time in Philadelphia. Undesirable. Everyone around him seemed nice, but he had a darkness that hovered around and within him. Crude, angry, aggressive. He does a lot of ketamine. I'd bet every dollar I ever made. Having the easiest setup, I started playing guitar and walking around. I offered the group the spot where my vehicle should have been, right next to where they were setting everything up. They were discussing some logistical issue. Another one of their group, whose aura was magnitudes lighter, did take the spot, telling me it was a good solution. But the guy got all aggro, and the hue of his soul became clear to me. 4 British people. 5. 2 couples and a young guy. Mark culturally the most unique group camped near me. Throughout the weekend, I would spend the most time at my site with the 2 older cats, the one I rode in with and his friend. They discussed their children, all grown, and we nerded out on clam. They drank good beer and good whiskey. The area on the map was called Pod 4. Charging station, water, communal area with benches and a canvas roof. I would always go play guitar in the morning. I was blessed. I met many wonderful musicians. One arrogant jerk. Many piano players, which was nice. Campfire sing-along shit. 2 jerks. The one was just obnoxious. I feel like he's a drunk. He broke my string after I told him to be kind. He replaced it, but his energy was messy. He doesn't want to be a great guitar player. He wants people to think he is a great guitar player. He annoyed me most. There was another player who alleged he wanted to set up, having everything to play. Bose speaker, guitar, microphone, pedal board. But he became cagey and kept darting and dodging, and so I left him frustrated after waiting an hour and a half, waiting on this guy to get over his stage fright. I would say Pod 4 was the best place to camp. Close to the festival grounds, with live music every night. DJs the first 3 nights, and an adolescent jam band that navel-gazed all night Sunday. Nice guys. They should learn some songs. I suppose I'll stop there. So, right, the novel spans from May of 2021 through February of 2025, right? Right, it's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic, right? And so, right? Right, I'll cut to the chase. Right, I was tested negative, maybe 1 month later. But now, right, it's descended into a very dangerous, palpable evil, and so I'm a little worried again, even though I've had no sexual partners, and they told me that when I got tested in New York that women aren't really carriers. And since I don't do butt stuff, I don't do gay stuff, there's really only one way I could have gotten it, right? Because he's a base fucking degenerate, right? So, right? Trey, Anastasio, and Fish, right, which is clam, are involved, right? That they've cast their allegiances with evil, right? Right? How do I know that? I was discussing this at the beginning of this video, right? That I wrote them a series of letters, first about helping us reconcile, Quentin and myself, and then about me getting my novel published, right? And then me just curious, me just trying to see where the truth, like what the truth of the matter is, right? And so the last correspondences that I wrote to them, I said something to the effect of, this guy is dangerous and evil and he wants me to die. I want you to send me everything that you've received that involves me. That's all. That's all, right? You don't have to right? Just whatever involves me. And I sent the same thing to the Discovery Institute in Seattle as well, right? Because I wrote David Berlinski and Dr. Stephen Meyer as well, right? And of course they said nothing. And so what I'm saying right now is that silence is its own answer, right? That if the truth of the matter was just that I had mailed them letters and was a raving lunatic, right? Why, seeing how I've supported both of those institutions for a long time, right? Why wouldn't they send me the letters that I sent them and say, we can tell that you're struggling, we can tell that you're hurting, you're suffering, please know that we love you, we appreciate you supporting our endeavors, right? Be well, you're not well, be well, right? That's optically, there is no other, right? Anything less than that, right, suggests that those people, those institutions don't respect their fan base. That's the point, right? However, right, if Quentin wrote both of them and slandered me to them, right, then, right, he's going to tell them, no, you don't send anything to him, right, up to and including perhaps threatening to torture them with the same evil that he puts on me. And I've already told him I'm going to. Like, I'm going to fucking, right, that this thing, I wrote a letter to the Pope, right, that this thing's gotten so out of hand, right, that there's no more, right, right, so my point being that Fish, right, and the Discovery Institute are in league with evil. That's it. There's nothing else to interpret there. David Mamet is in league with evil, right? Claire Berlinski is in league with evil. Martin Scorsese is in league with evil. Paul Schrader is in league with evil. Francesca Scorsese is in league with evil, right? Right? And so it's time to talk about it. It's time to, right? It's time to just bring everyone up, right? I'm initiating the whole world because I betray no master, right? Right? I spent so much time hating myself, right? Feeling like, oh gosh, I knew what he wanted. And why didn't I? But now I see. Now it's so obvious. It's just crystal clear in my mind, right? Right? That he's a sick degenerate, that he's a dangerous, evil man, right? Who doesn't see any of the good things in his life, right? Doesn't see that fine fucking goddess of a wife, right? He debases the mercy seat, right? Right? He debased the memory of his father-in-law, debased his father-in-law's immortal soul, right? And so it's all in this book, right? We're talking about it. We're reading through the novel. As far as the writing, right, even though it's, it's not what it needs to be, I do enjoy those passages a lot, right? And so, right, what do the other actors in his films have to say about it? And of course, they're never going to say anything, right? I think about all those beautiful young women, right? Mikey Madsen, right? What's that other bitch's name? Sydney Sweeney, right? Margaret Qualley, right? Right? So, it's easy to be evil. These things that he does, right, he could be using to heal the sick, right? That it's the same, it's the same power. Those are the opposite sides of the coin, right? Right? Pure giving, right, which is God's law, right? As soon as something comes into manifestation, it gives and gives and gives of itself unconditionally, right? Right? The sun has no concern for what it receives, right? A tree has no concern for what it receives, right? And so, when the adept, right, when the psychic clairvoyant, right, the voodoo practitioner, the magic sorcerer, right, harmonizes, right, their intention, right, their psychic resonance, right, which engenders a novel neuronal firing, right, that when on the highest levels of that expression, right, you heal the sick, right, that you take diseases out of people, right, and on the other side of that, right, which is what we're embroiled in now, right, you can give people diseases, and it's so fucking base. It doesn't get any more fucking evil than what I'm talking about right now, right? And so, right, if this was just about a movie, right, after I burned him at Tribeca, he would have produced a non-disclosure agreement, paid me, nothing, paid me a little bit of money, up to $5 million, and said, you sign that, no career ever for you. You go play Hamlet in Oklahoma. You go play Hamlet in North Dakota. Right? But this isn't, right? But this thing that we're talking about here, this thing that we're doing here, right? It ain't got nothing to do with movies. There's no such thing as an emergency movie. This is an emergency frequency, right? This is a divine celestial frequency, right? And so, right? This has been an exercise in power. That's the point, right? And so when I didn't give him power, right, he tried to, right, he's been trying to trick me into eating a bullet. That's everything that he's done has been towards that end, right? And so now we're talking about it because he thinks that black magic, sorcery, and evil is cool. And so, right, anyone who casts their allegiances with Quentin Tarantino is a fucking sick degenerate who supports black magic evil. Right? See what's good in your life. Life is not an accident. There is a latent intellect embedded within every cubic centimeter of space. All instances of clairvoyance is the conscious awareness of the adept tapping into the non-locality of consciousness. Right? Right? So the highest levels of pure godlike divinity sees you healing the sick, right? Sees you walking on water, and the lowest depths of satanic depravity have you killing and destroying someone, right? So, hold those close to you, dear. See what's good in your life. Uplift your soul to God, right? Life is not an accident. Like, comment, subscribe, share. God bless.